Hey, my name is Jose Trujillo. I'm a fine art artist and I'm coming to you from my art studio to talk to people who want to have a portrait painting commission, especially an oil portrait painting commission. Okay, so this one is an art tip, okay? How do you find a good, or I guess a tip or advice, okay? How do you find a good portrait artist? This one's a tough one. How do you do it? Well, first of all, the very first thing, when you see someone who paints a portrait, when you see a portrait artist, how can you distinguish whether he or she is a good portrait artist or not? Look at the fruits of the labor. Look, have they done enough portraits? See, good portrait painters don't just have one or two portraits painted. They have many. It's just like a good landscape painter. They don't have one or two or five little landscape paintings. No, they have dozens and dozens of them, sometimes hundreds. And if they're like me, probably thousands. Because I'm like that. but if they're a good portrait painter, they're going to have plenty portrait paintings, many sold, many in their studio, many studies, many charcoal drawings, many different stuff. Go check that out. See, can I see your work? I want to see your work. I want to see the work you got. And they might have photographs. If you see a photograph, that's a good thing. It's good that maybe they're online or whatever. Even better if you can see the art live, because the photograph might translate different. Maybe the artist is not a good photographer, and it'll come up fuzzy and it'll blend and it'll look maybe nicer or more or different. Let's use that word than what it looks live. When you have it in front of you. So one way of doing it is that way. Another way of doing it is check out the artist process. Ask the artist this, okay? What I mean by process is do you have referrals? Do you work with someone else? Because in the process, the artist is going to tell you, look, these are the people I've done portraits for. Let me give you some referrals. Or let me give you some phone numbers or whatever, or let me show you this painting that I created for this that I'm just finishing for this client of mine, or here's my guarantee. Here's my guarantee. There you go. If you don't like it, this is what this is how I'm either gonna fix it and give you your money back, or just give you your money back, or whatever. But here's my guarantee for you, so that you're covered, so that you feel whatever. You want to make sure that the artist has those things. Has some referrals, has a guarantee. If the artist doesn't have a guarantee and you're fine with that, awesome. Many artists don't have guarantees when it comes to portraiture, simply because they start creating the work for you and it's very labor intensive. So many artists have a split the fee. You pay a quarter of it or half up front, and that's non-refundable, simply because I'm going to start doing the work. It's labor hours, it's many hours or whatever. And when the portrait is finished, you pay the rest, of the amount, the other half or whatever. Make sure you find out these things before you go and just commission the portrait. Just say, oh, just do it. Make sure you ask these questions. How do you go about payment? They call it fees. They don't call it price. It's a little fancier. They call it fees. But just ask these questions. This stuff that I'm telling you, go check out my other videos on portrait painting. Just simply type my name, Jose Trujillo, Jose Trujillo, portraits or portrait painting. I have plenty of videos about this that you might find helpful. Thank you so much for watching.